Hello, I am Simulated Dirk, and welcome to The Bus, or if I was to use some Simpsons humour, The Bus, Anywho, I would like to say that this was my first look, but unfortunately I did have some technical issues at my end, so I've had to scrap 3 episodes, because after all, who wants to just hear my voice? Don't you want to hear the bus as well? Anywho, this is The Bus. Early access disclaimer, because it's an early access, you're in the opening stages. This has been recorded about a week after release, but I don't think much has changed in the first week. And hats off to the developers for this early access disclaimer, because you don't often see it in-game. And you see this before you get to choose anything else. Thank you for participating in the early access of The Bus. This game is still in alpha. You need to be aware that this game is not final and thus offers limited content and features, will have serious performance issues, might often crash or not even start at all. You might lose your save games in progress, will receive updates that will change the experience. There will be bugs, a lot of bugs, seriously a lot of bugs. So, if you are A-OK with the above, please continue and help us develop a great experience. So, what we are going to do is we're going to go and choose. We can't choose the map because Berlin's the only map. We're going to choose in this first episode the 12 metre Scania. You've got a difference between a 12 metre rigid and an 18 metre articulated or bendy bus. I'm going to do a sunny day to start with, and we are going to get straight into it. Now, if this sort of sequence looks a little bit familiar, it is because the developers of this game also developed Fernbus and Tourist Bus Simulator, Fernbus Coach Simulator, and also Tourist Bus Simulator. It is set in Germany, it's set in Berlin. And the interesting thing about this, which really suits this type of game, is that if the trip takes you in real life 1 hour to get from one end of the route to the other, well, that's how long it will take in the sim. So it's what they call a 1-for-1. Or 1-to-1 ratio. And here is our bus. This is The Bus Early Access, and here indeed is our bus. And I am sure that I selected the 12 metre, or maybe I didn't switch back to the 12 metre, but this is the 18 metre articulated bendy bus. There's our passengers. You may remember some of them from Fernbus Coach Simulator especially. Now we're in the centre of the city. We'll go and have a look at our bus in a minute. But there's our bus. Show you some of the surrounding area. So it's certainly a nice day in Berlin. Let's get on the bus. We'll walk through it. Go to the back door first. And show you the back. So there is our 18 metre articulated bus. Alright, let's go inside. We'll sneak in the back door. So here's our bus, the back of the bendy bus. I'll let our passengers on in a moment. So, needless to say, everything's in German. Yellow stop buttons, yellow handrails, and the seats. Alright, we'll enter the driver's seat, pressing the C key. Now I've got it set up so the bus automatically starts. So we can't let the passengers on until we've set up our computer. So we press start, enter tour number. Now the tour number's there written on the screen. I thought that you had to remember it. 99043, enter. And that will set you up, and now we'll open the doors. Passengers will come on. Hello, so she needs a single ticket AB. So we go single AB. So she's given us €4. That was €3, so we need to give her €1. Let's go. €1 change. There we go. The rest of the people have just tapped on or they've derivated. Alright. Alright, so we are good to go. Now, if you've seen a Fernbus video or if you've played Fernbus, you'll be very familiar with the navigation. On my previous adventures, I had no real issues. Which was good. It is noisy, it is bumpy. Let's have a look outside the bus because we are a little bit early. Actually, we're about 10 minutes early. Here's our bus. At the moment, there's only one route between Tegel Airport and downtown and return. That's basically the route that we have at the moment. let's have a look at how the bus is set up internally, considering we've still got 5 minutes or so before we're due out. So we've got a Scania dash, basically. Engine revolutions on the left-hand side, information gauges in the centre, and speedo on the right-hand side. The various controls for kneeling the bus. So I'm not sure if these have been implemented yet. So you can control your doors using whatever key you've got set up. I've got them set up for all doors open and close using the same control button. So they all open and all close. You can also do that from, if you want to control each door individually, you can, and the little icon pops up and it will actually show you the back door. Just a matter of preference that I prefer to open and close all the doors at one time. Or door boarding. They can get off whichever door they want. And it's just a simple matter of closing using one button to close all the doors when you're ready to. Now, old mate might be in time for the bus here. No, he's got his phone out with me. No, not my bus, he says. Out for a stroll. Is this her bus? I should get their phone out as well. So you've got your mirrors here, so you can check your mirrors for your doors. Ticket machine we've had a look at, so you can issue and it comes up on the screen what tickets I require. Zone AB, Zone BC, ABC, a single ticket or a 24-hour ticket. If it's an adult ticket or if it's a discounted ticket like a pensioner or a child, something like that. I haven't had any pensioners or children yet. Change counter. I haven't seen anywhere yet where you can avoid giving out change like I do on Bus Simulator. And the rest is fairly stock standard. I don't know all of which ones work and which ones don't at this stage. It's only very, very early. It's limited to 80 kilometres an hour. And the bus is fairly well modelled. Couple more minutes before we're due out. As far as I'm aware, the drivers don't need to check tickets or anything like that in the bus. Everything's in German, so if you know German, that probably means 45 seated, 99 people in total, and 2 wheelchair spaces. I'm guessing. I don't speak German. German's hard. And even though I probably know more words than I think. We're just about due out. Alright, time we close the doors, I think we'll be okay to go, so we'll close the doors. And we will continue. Alright, so let's go. Now in the centre of Berlin, you've got a lot of bus lanes, which you should certainly take advantage of. There are some announcements. Now I don't know if these times are right. Hello. You would like a ticket? What would you like? A single AV for €3. AB €3. Everything's in German. You pick up the money and you give her €1 back. She leaves happy. I don't think these times are right for departure times unless it's the time of the next stop. So I'm just going to You don't have to stop at every bus stop. You've got dedicated stops that you stop at, and only those ones, especially in this city centre area. There's only one route so far, as I was mentioning before, between the airport and downtown and back. The way that it's set up, if you want to, you can you can do a whole shift if you should choose to. So it's set up to do the whole shift. Oi. So there's a lot of different cars and trucks oops, I'll go straight still. Various descriptions. You see a tram line. There's no trams yet, but later on down the track there will be AI trams. So it's not going to be Tram Simulator Mark II. The bus lane ends there. So there will be AI trams apparently down the track. I don't know how far down the track that will be, but there will be AI trams later on. Now at the moment, you are the only bus on the road. There are no other buses, and there's only the one route. So you will only see you driving the bus. AI buses are coming later, and more routes are coming later. So we'll go back in the bus lane. We don't need to stop at this bus stop. There's no giant H on the road, and the information, our navigation down the bottom of the screen still says we've got like 350 metres to go before our next stop. So even if you were to turn the big obvious stop markers off, you would still know where the bus stop is if you look at your information display. Stop requesting. So it is bumpy. That's what the Berlin roads would be like. Lots of rattles, rolls. So we've got our rather obvious H stop here. You can turn these markers off. Some of the animation's not quite right for when passengers leave the bus. Hello. You would like a single ABC. So ABC, $3.80 or €3.80, and you need 20 cents change. Yeah, thank you. Now, because this is the bus lane, we can continue. We don't need to pull into traffic. Up here though, there's some road work going on, and the bus lane's actually closed, so we will need to move over and join general traffic for a moment. There's lots of construction going on this map.
Unter der linken Friedrichstraße.
So passengers requested to stop again. Now we need to... The bus will skid rubber easily. Now we can stay in this lane. Actually we'll just turn our indicator off now for now because I don't need to turn right. When we get halfway through the intersection, we can cut across over to the next lane and stop at the bus stop. The lane to the right of us is a right turn lane. In some areas, it might say right turn lane except buses, but I don't think that does anywhere. I'm sure you can roleplay that way if you wanted to. You get the little green light now. You get the traditional Europe warning amber light before it goes green, and we'll just pull in here. So just looking at our mirrors, sometimes the passengers are still getting off the back door of the bus. So this lane becomes a parking lane, so we can move over to the bus lane. Sometimes, and I've noticed around here, sometimes the navigation will disappear and then it returns. I don't think it's this intersection where we need to turn. No, it's the next one. And it looks like it's a one-way street anyway, so we can't turn. Anyway. So our little navigation marker will come back soon. There's our green light to warn us that the light's about to change in our favour. Oh, well, you can turn. You can turn right. So we'll stay in the bus lane, and the bus lane on this occasion includes the bus stop. Alright, you would like a single AB. That will be €3. And you'll go back, thank you. So close our doors. Now I have seen one daily ticket so far being purchased before, but they're mainly single AB tickets, Zone A and B combined. Now we should have to turn up here. Now our little marker on our navigation has disappeared, but we did look it up on the map on the previous one. Taxi's realised that he's in the wrong lane. Alright. So, and our navigation's come back. I'm sure that's I was a bit too close to the roadwork markers there. Now, it does sound and feel like that the brakes skid and lock rather easily, and I don't know if this is just me, but it sounds to me as if they've reused the Scania noises from Fernbus Coach Simulator, and to me the sounds of a tourist coach can be different to the sounds of a city bus. But that's just me. I could well be wrong on that, but that's what it sounds like. I can certainly live with it, but it just sounds. That's exactly what it sounds like at the moment. So we can go again.
Marschallbrücke.
Oi! Just pull out your numpty. And sometimes that's what the cars will do. I've noticed that on Tram Simulator as well. Sometimes they'll just pull out. A little bit bumpy, a little bit nervy. So, you would like to see your ABC, and it will tell you if you try to issue the wrong ticket. It says no, you need a single ABC. So that's 380, 20 euro back. Thank you. Not 20 euro cents back. Man, that's confusing. So we'll need to get back into this next lane because it's a parking lane soon. Some of these streets are narrower than the big main street that we're on to start with. You're just going to pull out again, aren't you? Yeah, numpty.
Charité Campus Mitte.
Oh, they were thinking about it in their wannabe Peugeot. I think you're pulling out in front of me. So at the moment, one route, two buses, the articulated bus which we're driving at the moment, and the 12-metre rigid bus. Pull in here. Hello, that'd be €3. Grab the money, there we go, thank you. I do have to say, and this is similar to Tram Simulator, similar to the later maps of OMSI that I've seen as well. The city is very well modelled. Did I hit that car? I might have. The streets are very well modelled. There's a lot of traffic, lots of different types, and you get to see trucks and vans and things with buses coming. It's one thing, for instance, you don't see in Tram Simulator. You don't see trucks, but you see a lot of different trucks and vans here. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this. This is obviously meant in competition with Bus Simulator, and obviously this production group couldn't call themselves Bus Simulator because there already is one. And it was actually good the other day on social media when the bus was released. The social media of Bus Simulator congratulated the developers of the bus, saying, congratulations, you got your game out, good luck with everything. And the bus replied to Bus Simulator in kind. So that was really good to see. Bus Simulator 21 is coming out sometime this year. Lots of different buses have been announced. Don't know when that's coming out as yet. I did hear early 2021. It's now the beginning of April as I'm recording this, and latest ones have said that it's basically coming out sometime this year. So it's gone from early this year possibly to sometime this year. They're being a bit vague about it at the moment. That's all part of the hype. They have released a lot of information about the various buses that are coming out. So we see the trend line is back. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops. And I dare say that if you're into buses, you'll probably be purchasing both anyway. I know I will be. So I'm really looking forward to more routes, more AI buses, fix some of the bugs that no doubt have been exposed. There's a good range of NPC pedestrian models. Will there be other buses other than Scania? I don't know at this stage. It would not surprise me. There were, if we're using Fernbus as a guide, there are other buses, other models of buses available on Fernbus, and also different maps. Now the aim of the bus at the moment is to be based on Berlin, and obviously in Berlin there's more than one bus route. So how far in the Berlin metropolitan area they go out, who knows? But this is certainly a solid start.
Hauptbahnhof.
Now we're coming up to the main train station. This is rather spectacular. So you've got the buses coming in here, and then next to them you've got the trams, I was a bit close there. The tram or the light rail, and then above, and then over the other side, we'll just deal with the passengers and then we'll have a look. So buses there. Light rail in the middle, and trains behind. There's a lot of, I'll get back in the bus because it is rather noisy. There's a lot of construction going on, and I dare say that would be that would be true to life for Berlin. You can see several different stops here, so this would be for several different routes. So at the moment we're the only bus on the road, even though, having said that, you still have to stop at the correct place, otherwise passengers won't get on the bus. See, I didn't even apply the brake that hard and it skidded. So obviously there's some tweaking. I haven't really done anything majorly. With the controls. You know, dead zones and all of that sort of stuff. And as the disclaimer said, there's still a lot of things, you know, that they're working on, like the glitching around the ticket machine, for instance. But it's all a work in progress. It's early release, and you know, the price wasn't necessarily cheap for an early access, but they do have some runs on the board. They're suggesting that later on down the track there'll probably be more buses, and then if you want to add on, if you want some add-on buses, are you going to go? There may be some add-on buses that you can purchase later on. Not sure how that will work, but during the early access, there's 3 different stages that I'll go through when we get to the end of the route, which will tell us what's coming where. And it sort of will expand on what I've said already, but there's three distinct phases that we're in at the moment. We're in phase 1, and then there'll be more added for phase 2, and then phase 3, and then there'll probably be things like hot fixes. You know, they've got things planned. How long is going to be in between phases, who knows, but they're probably already working on the things that we'll go through. Now this is an interesting little bit because we're also sharing with the tram line, or the light rail line, in the middle before it zooms off. Now, if this is the bit that I'm thinking of, there's a right-hand turn, and then soon after there's a left-hand turn. Or maybe this isn't the bit that I'm thinking of. No, this might not be the bit that I'm thinking of. There's a bit coming up where you turn right, and then almost immediately you have to go over and prepare yourself for a left-hand turn, which you could get horribly wrong. I've watched a couple of other videos.
U-Bahnhof Turmstraße.
I did watch a couple of other videos, but I did play myself first. And then I watched another couple of videos. Some interesting comments from other people on other videos, including people from Berlin who have said that it's a pretty good representation, and some real life bus drivers that are enjoying driving through a new city as well. So that's good. I've been to Berlin once. That's quite a few years ago now. And my most recent time would have been 2014. from memory. Because they were hoping for, that's right, the new Berlin airport, they were hoping was going to be open in 2014 when I was arriving there, but we still arrived at Tegel, which is where we're going. And then it was only late in 2020 that the Brandenburg, the new airport, actually opened. Now in this sector, I think this is the left, right, left that I was thinking of. So we'll go behind the taxi here. So for many years, a new airport was being built, Brandenburg, to replace and modernise Tegel, and it sort of became a bit of a race between Crossrail in England and the new airport in Berlin to see which one would actually be open first. For a little bit of context, Crossrail underneath London was expected to open in 2018. It's now 2021, still not open, and the last prediction that I saw was either late 2021 or early 2022, as they're trying to integrate that system with the other railways in London. And then I saw some comments on some other The Bus videos from other content producers that are saying, oh, you shouldn't be modelling Tegel Airport because it's not open. It's not open anymore. I think I'm just going to have to push my way through. I don't think the arrow situation's really worked out, or have I just screwed up? Probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But they were sort of damned if they do, damned if they don't, because I don't know, just because it's 2021 now doesn't mean that the game's set in 2021. For instance, if you have a look, hello, you would like a single A, B, €3, €1 that, there we go, thank you. You have to look at some other games. There's Sydney Bus Simulator, the Sydney map that I've got a couple of episodes out with more to come on Simulated Irk. That's been a work in progress that's been various stages of releases for the last 7 years. And purposely, the map was designed for before November 2017, because that was the sort of period where it was being developed, and then after that point there was a lot of changes to the bus network. So it was a specific moment in time. It was a specific moment in time where the map was set, and that could well be the case. That could well be the case here. Now you've got Tram Simulator, for instance, that have gone ahead, and in that, which you can also see on Simulated Irk, they've actually got a COVID mode where you can have people wearing face masks, etc. So to anyone who says, oh no, Tegel Airport shouldn't be there, or maybe A, you count yourself lucky, and B, you don't know what sort of time period it's set in. It could be set in, say, oi! Right away, Mr. Taxi, you heard of it? Is it a new concept? They're just going to push a barge in front of me. Oh, I don't really need to merge now because it's just one lane. You do have to watch out for the bike lanes as well. They're not sometimes obvious, or you think it's just a real narrow lane, but it's actually a bike lane, so watch out for that. from the main train station to the airport, the stops are further apart as well.
Turmstraße, Beuselstraße.
So there may be times there where you aren't stopping for a kilometre or two, because it's more of an express route between the main train station and the airport. And so I dare say in time to come there'll be other routes that will probably follow the same route as this, but it will stop at all the bus stops and be a different route number, etc. So a good example, we've got a bike lane to the right hand side of us. It's not in this part, it's not obviously like you see some bike lanes that are really obvious, they're a different colour. Same too with the bus lanes. Sometimes the bus lanes are really a different obvious colour as well. So just on the other side we've got the our next stop. But overall, good job. I am enjoying it. I'm not going to be doing a super long series with just the two routes, or just the one route, two different directions at this stage. But on the next episode we'll try and do a trip in the opposite direction in the shorter bus, the 12 metre rigid bus, in different weather conditions. Think back to Fernbus, there's a lot of passenger interaction. Apparently the passenger interactions will come later, and I'll go through this at the end of the episode, exactly what's coming in, maybe even not in what order, but which phases are coming and what we can expect. Because I remember going through it and after driving the route and then thinking, I didn't see any other buses. And indeed there were no other buses, because it quite clearly says in the road map that initially there's no other buses. But other buses are coming. You're after a challenge driving the bus through the streets of Berlin, if you're up for it, certainly go ahead. 700 metres before our next stop. And I'm glad that this is all it is. This is in terms of what you have to do. You just get on your bus, you drive the bus, and then you just drive your bus. You're not looking for collectibles, you're not looking to set up companies, etc. Hire other drivers, although that may be a thing that could come later. But if you just want to drive a bus through the streets of Berlin, that's what you can do. It may follow a similar sort of pattern to Tram Simulator, which is set in Vienna. Yes, they've got the one route. It's a long route, it's a detailed route. There's one type of tram to start with, now there's two. And coming up at the end of April, there's a new version of it called Tram Sim Pro, and there'll be things like the depot, more routes, a different type of tram. Now I believe that one's a paid DLC, downloadable content. But they did have a modern tram to start with, and then they released a older tram for free as their second type of tram on the same first route. Now there was talk of having more than one route on Tram Sim, and that's what the Pro Edition at the end of April will achieve, including the tram depot, and there's some company management and all that sort of thing that apparently is an option as well. So just to refresh you on the schedule of things transport-wise on Simulated Erk, trains. Well, there's a lot of train episodes. Train episodes are on Thursdays. Buses and trucks and trams are on Tuesdays. But having said that, the other day I was thinking about it and thinking, well, maybe I should have trams and trains together, and have move the tram episodes to Thursdays. Because there's a lot of truck content. There's American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator. I've just started a Middle Eastern Truck Simulator series, and also Japan Truck Simulator. And then there's this series. Then there's the OMSI series. Hello. You want a single AV for €4. Oops. Thank you. So there's this series, there's the OMSI series. The episodes are in various stages of production. The next Bus Simulator episode will probably be when Bus Simulator 21 comes out. So there's a lot on Tuesdays, and if you're a Flight Simulator type person, I've got Flight Simulator episodes coming out on Fridays. So already, it's April now, I've got Flight Simulator episodes. Oi! If you're going to turn right, you should have been in the right hand lane like I... Whoops, I think that was me. Like I was. The traffic can be a bit frustrating, but that's real life, how you'll just have people randomly crash into you and then they try and say it's your fault. So there's various playlists on Simulated Erk on YouTube, and there's a separate one for any bus episode, doesn't matter what simulator it is, that I've called On the Buses. So there's lots of different episodes there for you. Oh, I got stuck on this once before. So I'm just going to have to wait here and wait for the generosity of strangers to let me in. Because there's no... Sometimes you get that little bit of a lane so you can move across, or so you can get a head start on the traffic, but not on this occasion. Oh, the car's letting me in. Thank you, my dude. Oh, I thought that van was going to hit me then. That wasn't too bad in the end. So we've still got a kilometre to go before our next stop. what's happening. When I was on my annual leave from my real place of employment for 5 weeks, I recorded something like 95 videos while I was on leave. So, travel's still a bit of an issue with the certain global pandemic. So I'm quite happy just to sit on my computer and have lots of simulated experiences around the world and still be at Oak Tower. Narrow bit of rut, I thought I was over far enough. So we're starting to come up to the airport. We're starting to see more industrial buildings, as is common around major airports. Top right-hand corner, they're still taking their sweet time getting off the back door there. So we're coming up to our final stop at the airport now. It's very important to remember how to get to the bus stop at the airport. You need, and we'll see as we get there, you need to take the upper ramp. Sometimes the map's not too easy to follow when you've got 2 roads that are basically one on top of the other, one at ground level and one on the higher level, as often happens at airports as they separate arrivals and departures. And so some of the, there is a placeholder bus coming up here, which don't be surprised if it's a fern bus. But there it is on the right hand side there. Don't be surprised if that's a green fern bus later on. There's an Air Berlin centre on the left. So because some of the roads are incomplete, if you take the wrong turn, you get up to what is effectively a dead end, and then you can't get out. And in a way, I was glad I was able to scrap that episode. Not that I wanted the episode to be scrapped, but it wasn't a very good ending.
Flughafen Tegel. No concept of arrows, maybe. So you've got this, looks like a taxi layover area here, so don't pull into that on the right. Often they'll have a taxi waiting area, sometimes an arrival waiting area, or these days even with rideshare like Uber, they get a waiting area as well, often at larger airports. go up, young man. So be in the centre lane through this tunnel. And then go up. Watch out for the taxis who just do what they want. And look like Mercedes-Benz Sprinters just doing what they want. And then we're going up this time, so that's exactly what we need to do. This serves as the end of the route and the start of the next leg of your journey. So customers are leaving the bus now. Okay, so what it's saying is route complete, and then your next one is TLX01, which you can go on to and go and do should you wish to. Now, what I am going to do is pull up try and pull up the road map. Okay, so this is reading from the store page on Steam. Why early access? We want to enable our community to join early in the development of our upcoming new simulation, The Bus, to ensure a great and satisfying experience on its final and official release. So you can already play and follow the ongoing development hands-on. The Bus will go through different phases, which will add more features, content and polishment until it is ready for release. This will probably take 8 to 16 months of iterations and development. The release version of the bus, which is when it's out of early access in the 8 to 16 months that they're talking about, will feature the routes TXL, which is the one that we're on, 100, 200 and 245, and multiple variants of buses from various brands. In-game editors will enable you to create and edit bus lines, routes, tours, and more. Modeling tools based on Unreal Engine 4 game editor will be available for content creators to share their mods via Steam Workshop. Free play and economy game modes will be available in single player and multiplayer. Free play mode will enable you to drive each of the bus lines at any time of the year with the vehicle of your choice, including passenger transport with ticket sale and validation check. Okay, so you can check tickets. Economy mode will enable you to create your own bus company, buy vehicles and hire staff, maintain and repair the vehicles of your fleet, generate income via ticket sales. So that's very, very interesting so far in terms of what you can use and what you can use, etc. There's so much here that I'll go to in just a second. But already from what we've from what we've seen, from what we've discussed already, there sounds like there's going to be a fair amount of things that you can do, basically. And there's so much that you can do that I'm really looking forward to. And some of those features are already in Fernbus. So it's not as if they're new things that not as if they're new things that they've only just thought of. There's things that are in there. There's things in there that they've already thought of and have already got experience in, and what they're doing is they're just working it out in terms of, instead of being a long distance coach environment, they're working it on being a suburban environment. So we'll just go back, because I just lost the page that I was on. So you'll get a full and complete game at the very end of early access before the Gold Master of the Bus goes into production for retail shipping. So at the moment, the early access includes the bus route TXL and an articulated bus, which is the one that we just drove and the one that's on screen, or a rigid bus, the 12 metre bus that we'll use on the next episode. And that's in single player 3-play mode. There's already a line editor and a route editor. Boarding and deboarding passengers, we saw that. Ticket sales and validation checks. Well, we saw the ticket sales. We certainly have seen that. AI traffic, well, we've certainly seen that. Various types of vehicles, pedestrians and complex traffic lights. Full day and night cycle with weather and seasons. And so if you get in during early access, you will be able to basically get it at the easy access price, and then as it goes on, well, then the price goes up from that. So as it stands right now, start of April 2021, large and detailed map of the capital city of Germany, Berlin, in a scale of 1:1. And so I explained that earlier, where if you take an hour to drive the route, pardon me, if you take the hour to drive the route in real life, it would take you an hour on the sim. In-game line and route editors, inline timetable and tour editors, boarding and deboarding passengers, including ticket sales, AI traffic, various sites, points of interest and landmarks, freedom of movement, walk freely within the vehicles and the world, full day and night cycle with weather and seasons, various control modes, realistic, arcade and custom, mouse control, many types of steering wheels with and without pedals, eye tracking and track IR support, photo mode for screenshots, 2 web channels which I don't worry about because of music, and there'll be more features. Now phase 1 is what we're in now, and so that's what we're in now. So phase 2, now there's no time frame on this, but there's phase 1 we're in now. Phase 2 will be bus modding tools, multiplayer for free play, 2 additional bus routes, route 100, 200 with various variations, 2 new bus variants, AI buses, true to original depot with connection to all bus lines, full controller support for PlayStation and Xbox. And then phase 3, which is before the full release, so still early access, single player economy mode where you can create your own bus company, buy vehicles, hire staff, maintain and repair the vehicles of your fleet, generate income via ticket sales. Then you have multiplayer mode for economy, an additional bus line 245 with various routes, final bus variant, AI trams, so the trams are coming in phase 3, announcements and passenger audio dialogue, free roaming area between Berlin Central Station and Potsdamer Platz, including the Toiletten Tunnel, and a complete tutorial and checklist. The content and order of features may change before and during early access. So that's basically where we're at. That is basically where we're at. So phase 1 at the moment is the phase that we're in. And what we've just seen there during this episode is a good variation of and a good demonstration of what we're expecting. So phase 2, most notably for me, brings some extra buses, AI buses, a depot, and 2 additional routes with variations. And then the third phase, as far as I'm concerned, brings an extra bus route, another bus, AI trams, announcements and dialogue, and a bit more free roaming. When that's all going to happen, who knows? We'll certainly keep an eye out on it. I'll probably feature, I actually did enjoy this, where you can see the screenshots now of the bus in the rain. I did enjoy that. We'll bring that to you on the next episode.